Hello everyone. أهلا بيكم في تعلم الإنجليزية. Learn English. So today we will continue speaking about the same topic that we started like 2 episodes ago. We're still talking about complaints and problems that we might face. Today we're going to get the last part in which we will see the writing and we will see how we can write a complaint. But before we do that, we have lots of things that we have started but we haven't finished yet. Like we have started speaking about reported speech and we didn't get the chance to finish it. And we started speaking about things that might go wrong. So we will use all of that in our writing in the end of today's lesson. So let's look in detail what we're going to learn about. So we're going to learn grammar, reported speech still, and we will look at indirect questions. So we have looked at sentences and how we can report sentences. Now we will look at questions. And we will also look at skills. And for skills today, we're going to have reading, writing, and listening. So today is a big day for skills. And let's now start. And we're going to start with the brain teaser of the day. And our brain teaser today is find the differences. So we have 2 pictures here which look very similar, but they have 4 main differences. So let's take a look and let's try to find the differences between both pictures. So take your time, take a look. This is the first picture here, and this is the second picture here. So let's look together and let's find the 4 differences that we have between this and this. So take a look. Have you spotted any differences? Actually, I spotted one. Okay, so here we have a light switch, but here we don't. Remember how we can phrase that or how we can say it? We used to say in the first picture there is, so in the first picture there is a light switch and in the second picture there isn't. So this is the first difference between both pictures. Take another look, try to spot something else. Let's together try to find any other differences. Anything here? No? Yeah, I found something else in here. Do you see it? Yeah, so in the bed cover. So in the bed cover here, we have the extra piece of decoration which is not here. So in the first picture, we have an extra piece of decoration in the bed cover which is not there in the second picture. And this is the second difference that we have. Are you able to spot number 3? Let's take a look. This is same like this, and this is the same. What is the other difference? I spotted one here. Do you see it? The drawer here has a knob, but the drawer here doesn't. So let's try to phrase it together. Let's try to say it. So in the first picture, the drawer has a knob, or there is a knob in the drawer, but in the second picture, there isn't, or in the second picture, the drawer doesn't have a knob. Okay, so that's really good. We have found 1, 2, 3 different things that are in picture 1 and they are not in picture 2. Can you spot the 4th one? Can you spot the 4th difference? Let's take a look again. What else is different? So the same decoration here. Pillows are the same. The bed is the same, but it's not completely the same when we look here. Yeah, do you see that? Okay, so how would you phrase this? So this is called a picture, a portrait, or a decoration as well. So here in the picture above this, the bed, there is a triangle which is not there in the second picture. So there's a triangle here, but there isn't a triangle here. By this, we have found our 4 differences. So we're done with the brain teaser, and now we're all ready. Let's start with the idioms of the day. For those who don't remember the meaning of idiom, we're still talking about an expression, and this expression, when I read it, the meaning of it is not literally connected to the words. So we have a meaning which is a bit different from the words in the expression. So we need idioms to sound fluent and to sound natural. And today we're still talking about complaints and problems, so our idioms are still connected to the same topic. So let's take a look at the first idiom. The first idiom that we have is called sing the blues. Okay, so as we said before, our idioms might be connected to the topic either by the meaning or by the words. So we will find the word complaint or complain or problem in the idiom itself, or maybe the meaning is connected to the topic that we're talking about today. And for the first idiom that we have, the meaning is connected to our topic. So sing the blues. So this is somebody who is singing, but if you can see the picture, so can you guess what it means from his picture? Feeling sad and discouraged. So sing the blues, we use it when somebody feels sad or when he feels disappointed because of a situation. So we can use it, and an example, a good example for this is when I say, okay, last week when I saw the hotel room, I sang the blues, which means when I saw the hotel room, I felt really sad and discouraged because I paid a lot of money and it wasn't up to my expectations. Or I sang the blues when my exam results appeared or came. So this means that I wasn't very happy about the exam results. So sing the blues means feel sad and discouraged when you feel that you are disappointed or not motivated. I can say that my sister sang the blue after I gave her her birthday present. So she had very high expectations, but what she saw wasn't something very pleasant for her. So this is the first idiom that we have, and it's called sing the blues. So we have the word sing, which is not connected at all to the meaning, which is feeling sad. The second idiom that we have is breathe fire. Breathe fire, if you can take a look at the picture and guess what it means, that would be really nice. So take a look, breathe fire. Okay, if you know the dragon breathes fire. So breathe fire means gets fire out of your nose and mouth. So what do you think it means? Okay, so actually, to breathe fire, it's to be very angry about something. So we can use it and say, I breathe fire when people don't understand what I mean, which means I become very angry when people don't understand what I mean. Or you can say, if I go there again and find the same problem, I will breathe fire, which means if I found the same problem, if I go there again and find the same problem, I will be very, very angry. Or my father breathes fire when we make noise while he's working, which means my father gets very angry when we make noise while he works. So breathe fire becomes very angry. So in which situation do you breathe fire? Think about it and try to make a sentence using our new idiom. When do you breathe fire? And let's go to the last idiom that we have for today, which is still connected to the same topic, and it's called go nuts. Go nuts. Okay, first of all, nuts is the nuts that we have talked about when we were talking about food. So it's same like when we speak about almond, or when we speak about peanut. So all these are nuts. So what is the connection between go nuts and this picture? What do you think the picture means? What do you think the idiom means? So go nuts is the same meaning like breathe fire. Do you remember the meaning of breathe fire? So become very angry. So we can use it in the same situation, or we can use it to replace breathe fire. Did you have a situation in which you breathe fire? Did you think of a situation that makes you very angry? You can use both. So you can say, I go nuts when my brothers or sisters use my stuff. I become very angry when they use my things. Or, last week, I went nuts in the restaurant when they brought me very cold soup. So, went nuts is the past, so we can use it in any form, and we can change the verb and put it into the right tense. So if we're talking about past, go will become went. If we're talking about future, will go. So we can change the tense according to the meaning of my statement. So again, if you thought of a sentence in which you breathe fire, this would work with go nuts. So go nuts means become very angry. So I will go nuts if I don't take my exam paper today, which means I will be very angry if I don't take my exam paper today. So by this, we have looked at the 3 idioms that we have for the day that we have today. The first idiom was sing the blues, which means becoming very sad or discouraged. And the second idiom is breathe fire, which means become very angry. And the third idiom is go nuts, which has the same meaning as breathe fire, and both mean become very angry. So by this, we can start our new part, and we are going to start the listening. For our listening today, we have a hotel guest. She is in a hotel and she's not very happy about the hotel. So we're going to listen and we're going to see what is the problem. So let's listen and let's answer the questions while we listen.
Hello, I'd like to speak to a guest. Mrs. Beatty in room 514. Thank you.
So first of all, who is talking here? Is this the hotel guest or is this the customer service representative? So the speaker here is the representative. And were you able to get the information? What's the room number? So, which one was it?
Hello, I'd like to speak to a guest. Mrs. Beatty in room 514.
Did you get that?
Thank you.
So it's 514. So her name is Mrs. Beatty and her room number is 514. Let's go to the next question.
Hello.
Hello, Mrs. Beatty. This is Cheryl from Top Notch. How's Los Angeles?
Well, the hotel isn't very nice, dear.
All right. So now we started the conversation with the customer service or the travel agent and Mrs. Beatty. Is she happy? She isn't. She said the hotel isn't very nice. But the question here is asking about which city. So it is Los Angeles. Very nice. Let's go to the next question.
I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that. Are you okay? You sound tired.
My room is on the 5th floor. I had to walk up with my luggage.
There's no bellman? No elevator?
No. And I wanted a non-smoking room with a king-size bed.
And I requested that for you.
Well, they gave me a smoking room with a twin-sized bed. It's all they have.
I'd better check your reservation. What hotel are you at?
The Candle Inn, I think.
All right. So Mrs. Beatty complained about a lot of things. So she has complained about 7 different things, which are: she had to carry her own luggage and there is no elevator. She asked for a bigger bed. Housekeeping didn't make the room, and there are many students staying in the hotel and there aren't any hotel stars. So there aren't any movie stars in the hotel. So let's go to the next question and let's see what other problems does she face.
Mrs. Beatty, your reservation is for the Chandler Inn. You're in the wrong hotel. The Chandler Inn is a much nicer hotel.
Oh.
All right. Why is her hotel so bad again? So, what is the main problem?
Mrs. Beatty, your reservation is for the Chandler Inn. You're in the wrong hotel. The Chandler Inn is a much nicer hotel.
Oh.
What is the problem here? So, the main problem is that she is at the wrong hotel. And for the last question,
Well, I'd better call a taxi.
How will you get your bags to the front desk?
I'm sure I can find a student to help. I'll say I'm a movie star. I'll be fine.
Okay. Good luck.
Goodbye.
so who's going to help her with the bags? A student. So she's going to try to find a student to help her with the bags. How? By saying she's a movie star. So she will tell a student, I'm a movie star, so he can help her with her bags. So by this, we have listening to a complaint, a hotel complaint. But what was her major problem? Her major problem wasn't the hotel. The major problem was that she went to a wrong hotel. So she was in the wrong place. All right, while we were listening, again, we heard the lady repeating a lot of things. And when she repeated what she was told or the information, she was repeating the conversation to somebody else. And again, this is the same idea of reported speech. So now we're going to continue with our grammar point. We're going to look at reported questions. So we have looked at reporting a sentence, and we have seen how we can report different tenses and different sentences in different forms. We have looked at modal verbs, and we've looked at normal regular sentences in present, past, present perfect. So we've seen how we can do that. But still, we have another part that we still need to look at, which is a question. If my conversation includes a question, what will happen? So how would it be different if I have a question in the middle of a conversation and I would like to report it? Let's together remember that reported speech, we have 2 different cases and 2 different situations. The first situation, I'm repeating a conversation on the spot. In this case, we will not do any changes for tenses. The second situation, we are reporting a conversation in the past or a finished conversation, and then I go to a different situation or I move on and speak to other people. So in this case, we need to change the tenses. So let's look at reporting questions. Let's look at the examples. So first example that we have here, do you trust me, Harry? Asked Hermione. So Hermione asked a friend. So this is a question and this is a direct conversation between a friend and another. Do you trust me? Face-to-face conversation. When this conversation is repeated, it's going to be different. So let's see what differences happened. Hermione asked Harry if he trusted her. So this is the first example that we have. Hermione asked Harry if he trusted her. Let's look at the second example. Why are you still here? Harry asked Ron. So this is a conversation between Harry and Ron. The question is from Harry to Ron. Why are you still here? Let's see, when this conversation is reported, Harry asked Ron why he was still there. So, what changes did we do? We have the basic changes that we agreed upon last time, and we know what to change. We know that we changed tenses, we know that we changed time expressions, and we know that we changed pronouns, whether subject or object pronouns, even if it was a possessive pronoun or possessive adjectives as well. So all these things we change. So here you can see that there are some changes that already mentioned, like we said, personal pronouns, possessive adjectives, pronouns, tenses, and time adverbials or time expressions. And there are some new changes that happened. So before we do anything, here we have two different questions. So the first question, what type of question is it? So are these questions the same type or different? We have the first question as a yes or no question, while the second question is a WH. So here we have two different question types. So let's see what changes would happen for each question type. So first of all, we will have something called reporting verbs. Like when we saw reporting verbs for sentences, we have reporting verbs for questions. For a sentence, we said the most common or the most repeated verbs are said and told. And when we speak about the questions, we have very common verbs as well. So the verbs that are used are mainly ask, want to know, wonder. These are the main verbs that we use. Ask, want to know, wonder, and checked or wanted to check. So all of them would work. So as we said, we have two types of questions. We have the yes or no questions, and if you remember the yes or no questions or confirmation questions, they start with an auxiliary verb or a modal verb to which we reply with yes or no. Like, are you happy? The answer is either yes or no. And the second one is the WH questions. And these ones start with a question word such as when, what, where, why, how. All these are question words that we will find in the beginning of a WH question. So now we have two types of questions and we know how we start yes, no, and how we start WH. So let's look at yes, no questions. When we start reporting the yes, no question, what happens is that we will link the two parts, the reporting verb, to the main question by if or whether. What does that mean? So here we have Harry asked Lupin, so this is a question from Harry to Lupin. Will George be okay? So here, if we would like to add, we will add a question verb. So we said that we have reporting verbs. So the reporting verbs for questions are asked, wondered, wanted to know. Let's start with asked. So now we have Harry asked Lupin, and now I don't want to have the quotations. I want it to be a normal question. So in this case, I'm going to join this second part to the first part and show it as a reported speech by Harry asked Lupin, and we're going to remove the colon and the quotation marks. whether, so I joined both parts with the word whether George would be okay. So here, let's see how many changes we've done. Number 1, we removed the quotations. Number 2, we changed the tense. Number 3, we added whether. Number 4, we cancelled the question mark and we switched it into a normal statement with a full stop. So let's see another example here. Harry asked Ron, does girls normally wear pajamas? So when we switch it, it becomes Harry asked Ron if girls normally wore pajamas. So again, the same changes happened in the first example are in the second example, but instead of using whether, we used if. So I can join both parts by either if or whether. So both options are fine, no problem. So this is what happens when we report a question, basically a yes/no question. So what about a WH question? In the WH questions, the two part, the reporting verb, is joined to the question by the question word itself. So we use the question word as a link between the direct or the indirect part and the statement that we are reporting. So we will use the reporting question and we will join it to the statement by the question word. So we will join it to the question by its question word. Let's see the example that would make it easier for us. Where are we? Asked Ron. So here we have Ron who is lost. He doesn't know where he is. So he asked this question. Where are we? Now I have the quotation marks because this is a direct quote. And we have the question mark. Let's see when we report it. Ron asked them where they were. Lots of changes are happening here. So, number 1 is that we removed the quotation marks and it became one statement altogether. Number 2, I used the question word here as a linking word. Number 3, question mark is removed and I switched it into a statement. Number 4, the order of the question is different. Are we verb subject? They were subject verb. So the order is different. And then we have the tense, which is different. So see how many things that we have changed? Let's look at the second example. How does she know? Wondered Hermione. So here I have the reporting verb as wonder. We're going to use this one. So Hermione wondered how she knew. So what's happening here is that we have removed the helping verb and we have switched the tense into the past. So we're changing the tense and we are removing any helping verb. Basically, we're removing the question format. So the question format in which we add extra helping verb or in which we invert the subject in the place of the verb. So all these things, we remove them and we go back to the normal sentence format. Subject first and then verb, no helping verbs unless we have negative. So in reported yes/no questions, we use if or whether, the subject and then the verb. And in reported WH questions, we use WH word, the subject and then the verb. So as we said, we don't use the interrogative form, we don't use the inversion, or we don't use any auxiliary verbs, which is only added in the question form. Question marks are not used. We're talking about a normal statement now. It's not a question. They don't seek information. When I repeat a conversation, I am just telling the person what is said. I am not waiting for him to give me an answer. So here we're not using question marks. It's a statement. So let's now have practice. Does it make a difference? So first of all, what type of question is it? Yes, no, or WH? So this is a yes, no question. So when I report it, I can just use asked, or I can use any other reporting verb. It doesn't really matter. So it's your choice. You can say asked, wondered, wanted to know, all would be fine. So I will have the speaker and then a reporting verb. So Hermione wanted to know or asked, and then first of all, this does will be removed and it will be replaced by if or whether. So Hermione wanted to know if it, the subject, and then if we have make here, we put it to the past. If it made a difference. See? So this is how it should look. So does it make a difference? We remove does, it's not here, and then we replaced it with if or whether, doesn't really matter. And then we have the subject and then the verb here, we take it one step to the past like we learned last time. Okay, let's see another example. What do you know about the Deathly Hallows? What do you know about the Deathly Hallows? Harry asked Ollivander. So here we have WH question, and then we have the helping verb in which we're going to remove when we start reporting. Are we going to add anything to join the two statements? No, because I'm going to join the statements by what? So Harry asked, so this is one thing, or Harry wondered, Harry wanted to know, so we can use Harry asked, the same that we have in the sentence. Harry asked Mr. Ollivander what, and then we're going to remove do, and then we're going to have this, we change the subject. If it's you, it's gonna be he, change the tense, one step to the past, knew about the Deathly Hallows. See? This is how it should look. So he asked what he knew, we changed the verb, and we removed the auxiliary. Some more practice. Why isn't he coming with us? Asked Dudley. So let's switch it. I will give you a second. Think about it. What exactly are we going to change here? Why isn't he coming with us? So first of all, we need to choose a reporting verb. Number two, if we have an extra auxiliary that isn't originally in the sentence, we're going to remove it. Number three, we're going to take the tense one step backwards, one step to the past. We're going to remove question marks and we're going to remove quotation marks. And if we have any subject pronoun that is you, we're going to switch it into he or she. So let's see how it looks. Dudley wanted to know why he wasn't coming with them, or we can make it with us if I am reporting about myself. So we removed question mark, quotation mark, we joined both statements by the question word, and we took it one step, so isn't became wasn't. One more. Can you control what you dream about? Hermione asked Harry. So, let's take a look. What exactly are we going to change here? So, first things first, the easy things. So, easy things are removing quotations and question marks. And then, we look at the statement itself. Yes, no, or WH. So, the question here is it's a yes, no question because we start with the model. So, in this case, I'm going to put if or whether. But here, this is not an extra one. So, this is not a verb that we added as extra because the model remains. So, in this case, we will see Harry asked Hermione whether she, and we change the tense, can becomes could control what she dreamed about. Or what I dreamed about, depending, am I the person who's talking or I'm talking about somebody else. By this, we have looked at how we can report a question. So let's now take a look at our next step, which is the writing. Let's take a look how the writing would happen, and let's see how we will write a complaint using all the information we have been collecting for the past 3 episodes. Let's together take a look. For us to start writing a complaint, we need to know what we're going to complain about. So we're going to see, and we're going to look at expectations versus reality. So we're going to see how things happen to make people get angry and to start writing a complaint. So let's imagine together that we're planning the next vacation. And we check hotels and we have our expectations for a perfect holiday. And now we're going to see what happens when we reach the hotel. So here we have our expectations. I'm going to go to a 5-star hotel and I'm going to find the perfect room. So in my imagination, I expect to have a perfect view, excellent room with very, very nice facilities. But reality would come in a different way. So when I arrive to the hotel, when I reach there, I find this is what's waiting for me. So this is exactly the shock that you're going to have. There is no view, the room isn't spacious, and it doesn't look as nice as I expected. So this is the first shock that you get. And then, so you start here to build frustration, like you start to get angry. This is not what I waited for. And of course, when you check the hotel reviews or when you check what the hotel writes about itself, you expect to find variety of food. And you expect to find very delicious, tasty food. But when you arrived in there, you found this. So the big variety, everything that you expected came down to this. So now frustration is increasing. So you started to be a bit more angry, but you still want to enjoy. So what you had in mind is that the drinks for sure would be better. It doesn't really matter what we eat as long as we can have some very good drinks. But you will find only this. And it doesn't even have milk in it. So you come down to start going nuts. Do you remember going nuts? And then we continue and you expect to find a huge view for the sea, or you expect to enjoy the sea. But you only find a pool, and it's not a very big pool either. So now you know that you have a big problem and you've been robbed. So you've paid a lot of money for nothing. But this is not everything. You expected to do a lot and all your vacation was wasted. So this is time where you decide to sit down and start writing your complaint. Let's see what exactly we're going to write about and how to write a complaint in detail. So let's look at how we can write the letter itself and what exactly we can put. So we will see a sample of the letter, and then we will see the components and what are the parts of the complaint letter. Okay, so here we have 12th of November 2001. Dear sir or madam, I am writing to complain about the weekend of 9th to 11th of November, which I spent at your hotel. Your advertisement stated that the room would have a private bathroom. However, we had to share with other guests. We asked to be moved to another room, but we were informed that there were no other rooms available. I also understood from your advertisement that we would be able to use your swimming pool and health club. Nevertheless, we were told neither facility was open due to staff shortage. I tried to contact the manager several times during the weekend, but she was not available and did not return my calls. I would appreciate it if you could compensate us for a very disappointing weekend. I look forward to hearing from you. Yours faithfully, Jones, N.I. Jones and N.J. Jones. So this is a sample of a letter of complaint. So let's take a quick look how many paragraphs we have. We have 1, 2 big part, 3, 4. So let's see what are the components for a letter of complaint. First of all, we start by writing, if it's a letter, if you're writing it as a letter, you're going to write your address on top so that they can reply back to you. If it's an email, it's automatically there for them, so you don't have to write that if it's an email. And then you write their address here, if still we're talking about a letter, not an email. So once we're talking about an email, these things will not be there. We will not have your address, their address, or the date, because these things are automatically generated for you. And then we have the starting part. Dear sir or madam. In this case, we're talking about someone, the manager is unknown to me. I don't know the name of the manager. So in this case, I use sir or madam. If I know the name, we have the idea of Mr. or Ms. So here we have Ms. and we usually use the MS as Ms. We avoid using Miss and Mrs. because basically we never know if the person is married or single. So to avoid this area, use Ms, which works for married and single women. All right, and then we have the first paragraph. The first paragraph should be short and it should state the purpose of your writing. Why are you writing the letter? Like we see in the example, I am writing to complain about blah. So the first statement, we don't have how are you, how is life, nothing like this. You directly state the reason of you writing this email. So you put all the details related. So I am writing to complain about the weekend. The dates are important to tell them when exactly you stayed, in which I stayed in your hotel. And then we have the body paragraph, or maybe more than one body paragraph if we have more than one idea, which means the body of the email can speak about or can have the ideas that I complain about. Like what happened here, we have one paragraph, two paragraphs, because she had two basic problems. One paragraph for the bathroom, one other paragraph for the swimming pool and the facilities that they had. So that's why she separated them in 2 different paragraphs. And we have the last paragraph here, I tried to contact the manager. So we have 3 problems she faced. Each problem would be in a separate paragraph alone. So the food wasn't good, in a paragraph. The swimming pool wasn't clean, in another paragraph. The room was very small, a different paragraph. So whatever problem you face, put each one in a separate paragraph with details for it. And because we're talking about a formal letter here, make sure that you don't use short forms. So no contractions, no didn't, no I am, no his. So it's I am, full forms. He did not, because this is a formal letter. And as we said, it should be organized in a clear, logical manner. Each paragraph carries one idea. And try to use formal vocabulary. Like I was informed, not told. Like neither facilities, tried to contact, not call. It's the same meaning, but we use the formal vocabulary instead of using the informal ones. And then we ended by expectations. What do you want? Like you're sending me this letter. What do you expect me as a manager to do? Say what you expect them to do. Refund, send information, give you a week. So whatever you want, ask for it. I would appreciate it if you can compensate us for a very disappointment. So she's looking for compensation. I look forward to hearing from you. And we have your closing line. The closing line will be going with the opening statement that you have. So if I start with dear sir or dear madam, we're going to have yours faithfully. But if we have the name of the person like dear Mr. John, dear Mr. Muhammad, yours sincerely. So I open with madam, I close with faithfully. I open with the name Ms. Sally, for example, I close with sincerely. And then you sign your name. By this, we have looked at how to write a letter of complaint. And we have seen how she reported what happened. She reported her questions again. And she reported what the people said to her. And she put that in the middle of the letter. So by this, for the last 3 episodes, we've been looking at complaints and problems. We've looked at vocabulary. We've looked at reported speech. And in the end, we used all of that to write a letter of complaint. By this, we have reached the end of the episode and of complaints in general. Thank you very much for watching and see you next time. Bye-bye.